The reason you're struggling to get stops right now in Madden 26 is simply because your defensive bag isn't deep enough. In other words, you don't know about enough tricks that will make your life on defense 10 times easier because you can actually adjust to anything your opponent throws at you. Well, luckily for you, in this video, I'm breaking down 5 secret tricks that nobody will tell you about defense here in Madden 26 except for me, BLT. This is going to be the best video you've seen today on Madden, so you're not going to miss out on any of the tricks I had to show you. Let's jump right into it. Before you even jump into any game, any mode, you need to make sure you have the right defense settings equipped so you can actually get stops. Let me show you the best ones to use right now. Alright, so when we talk about the best defensive settings, alright, we're going to put our defensive motion response on disabled. Alright, this is going to essentially make it to where your zone coverage defenders, like for example, if you have an outside corner and a cloud flat in zone, he's not going to follow when someone uses a cheat motion from maybe motion cross post, for example, alright? Very important that that happens. Same thing really with cornerback matchups and auto flip. These first three are really alignment settings here, so you want to make sure you have on, balance, disabled. All right, options, I don't really touch these because I don't think options are that good, or pitches, anything like that are really that good in this game. So if you just leave it on balance, you honestly should be pretty good. If you come into RPO read key, that doesn't matter either, but RPO pass key does, because you essentially want your AI to focus on pass coverage so that you can loop around and shoot gaps here against the run and I guess the RPO part of the run. All right, now zone drops, these are going to depend on the situation, the game. Obviously, if it's fourth and short, you want to make sure you have shorter zone drops. Fourth and long, you could have deeper zone drops, but for the most part, you just want to put your crook pots in 5, set them and forget them, and kind of just play defense that way. If that's what you want to do, this is what I would recommend. But if you're going to use match coverage like cover 4 quarters, palms, cover 6, cover 9, make sure that you have all 3 zone drop depth on default for the coverage to work. That's something that, again, no one really talks about, but that's the case. Close pinch for safety alignment unless you have super slow safeties or they have super fast receivers. But again, for the most part, because like I'm about to show you, right, if you run, or excuse me, if you have your safety depth in close and they just try to look up the seam, which is honestly a pretty common meta, you're going to see how either one, you're just going to get a pick from your safety like that because the quarterback's going to sail the ball, or there's just going to be no room for them to throw the ball and he'll probably just airmail it over his head, right? Because you're going to see how your slot corner is already probably going to drop back, but then their safety is right there. So there's like no room for them to throw this pass in between these two guys, and it's just going to be an easy interception, you know, when you jump up and make this play. It's a super critical setting to have turned on. Every top player is going to use safety depth and close, just being honest, right? And there's a good reason for it because there's no real downside. Like I said, unless they have super fast receivers, like if you're playing against the Chiefs, I would back my guys up for sure. All their receivers are really fast. But again, here, it's like the Titans, if they just lob a pass over the top, that man's not fast enough to get behind your DB when your DB is closer to the line of scrimmage. So again, safety depth and close with your width on pinch really has no downside, but it allows you to take away throwing windows that are, you know, quick throwing windows for the offense a little bit easier because your guys are closer to the line of scrimmage. So those are the best defense settings you need to be using, and they're very important before you even jump into any of the schematic stuff. All right, I understand that every streamer, pro player, YouTuber tells you to set up these super complex defenses that take like 8 adjustments. Let me show you the best way to improve your quick adjustment game so you can actually keep up on defense. Alright, so what I mean by quick adjust is something like this, alright? Because you're going to see how this is a cover 2 defense right here. Now, if you're playing against maybe a bunch formation, you know that cover 2 kind of struggles a little bit against these type of bunch formations. So you could really set up a cover 3. But probably what you're doing right now is you're starting to play on maybe Cashman, and then you're trying to like click around and like you're misclicking. You need to get on this outside corner, put him in an outside third. You're misclicking a whole bunch of times, and now by the time, like now they're snapping the ball, and now this is what your defense looks like. There's no flat on the right side. Like your adjustments are just way too slow, and you don't really know how to improve them. And so when you read ebooks or you watch videos, it's like there's 8 adjustments to do, but I can't do them all, right? And so that's a huge complaint that a lot of people have. So how do you get better with it? Now, you can certainly run simple defenses. Like cover 3 clouds are really simple defense that's pretty good if you can master switch stick. But like, if you really want to get good with quick adjustments, you have to understand position groups, okay? If you press D-pad right twice, that's going to open the linebacker adjustments, all right? If you press D-pad left twice, that's going to open the defensive line adjustments, right? If you press Y twice, that's going to open the secondary adjustments, just like this. So your slot corner, your outside corners, and your safeties, all right? And so that's very important because that's the baseline, that's the start. Once you understand what buttons to press first, to press twice, then you know what position group you're gonna get on, and now I can just look. Linebackers are gonna be 1 to 3 linebackers in pretty much every formation, and so then you just have to click which button your man is that you want to adjust. And I want to adjust X. Now I can put him, or no, I want to adjust the other guy. So I want to put this man in a hard flat, so now I can just press right stick to the right, and now I can put that man in a hard flat. Now I compare that up with these other adjustments, like putting my outside corner in an outside third. Right, so I press Y twice, then I press B, and then I'd see that left stick up is outside third. And so it's just practicing that and understanding, okay, now I'm on the position, I click on the player, now what adjustment is what button? And that's the practice part. That's probably even harder than what I told you earlier with pressing Y twice, pressing D-pad right twice, left, or D-pad left twice. All that's easy to remember. Right, but it's actually, because there's so many adjustments that you can make on this menu, that it's like, okay, what adjustment does what, right? Or what button press does what. And now you have a much better defense against a bunch formation, because now you can really switch stick onto your hook curl if you want. You're defending the quick flat, and you have a cover 3 on that side, so it's harder for them to just beat you with like corner routes, for example, right? And so again, if they go ahead and call this play wide trail, right, I'm here to guard this. I can click onto my slot corner, and I could, try to recover that fumble. And so you see, we play really good defense, and we honestly would have a touchdown in this play. Right? So it's like, that's the game. The game is quick adjustments. You have to be able to set your defense up at a pretty good level and pretty quickly. Every single top player, like, you'll never see a pro player or any guy who's really good at the game making adjustments slow and clicking on the guys. It's a huge skill gap, probably the #1 skill gap on defense, because you don't want to really play stock defense all the time. And so if you're not going to play stock defense, you have to make adjustments, and using quick adjustments is really the best way to do that. So I hope that's a simple breakdown. Obviously, comment if you have any questions about quick adjustments. Ask me questions, in any of my comment sections of social media. I'll help you out. But that's how you quick adjust a lot faster and a lot better here in Madden 26. All right, if you found any of those first 2 defensive tricks helpful, I encourage you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down defensive tips and tricks just like this every single day here in Madden 26, and you're not going to miss out on any of them. But if you want all 5 of these tricks in written form to save on your phone in your next game, so you can always access them and you don't have to surf through videos, go to the link down below in the pinned comment. Join Madden University, where you're going to get your first month for only $1 of all my written breakdowns for the month of March and beyond if you're watching it in the future. But it's really the best way to get better at the game, and please don't let $1 be the reason you're still struggling to win games and get stops here in Madden 26. It's a no-brainer, so let's jump right back into it. Alright, like I told you in the last segment, bunch formations are pretty tough to stop, but let me show you a great adjustment you can make to help slow them down. Alright, so it doesn't really matter the bunch formation that they're in, as long as they have an outside receiver and a running back, on the same side. Like, this is going to be fine, and this is what you should do, alright? So let's just say a great example of when you should use this is if they put a shriek, for example, in a table route. If you put a hard flat on the field, they're just going to be able to pass lead this Ridley route instantly. So it's like you can't put a hard flat because your safety's too close. But again, if you don't put a hard flat, they can just pretty easily hit a 3-yard gain. If they get a better racking animation, they can pick up like 6 or 7 yards, right? So that's going to be a pretty big problem for you. And so again, if you put that hard flat on the field now, though, and they call the same route concept, it makes it just a lot harder to defend the sideline. Right, you're going to see, that's Harrison Smith, right? I'm just telling you guys that a lot of the time, a lot of safeties, when they're this close to the line of scrimmage and they're tucked inside with their width on pinch, it's going to be a lot harder for you to defend that sideline area, right? So a really great adjustment that you can do to take away both of these guys is simply man up the X receiver with Harrison Smith, just like this, and you can man up the running back Pollard right here with your outside corner, because now whatever route honestly both these guys run, it's going to be guarded pretty well. So we're going to have them call the same route concept here. You see how the corner immediately latches onto that table route, takes it away for no gain. But if we look at the replay, Harrison Smith is also all the way over here. He immediately darts out here to defend this. Like, they can't throw this pass because Harrison Smith, instead of like backpedaling in a zone in a deep half assignment, he's actually just making a beeline, understanding his assignment and taking it away. And you're going to say, BLT, what about another route, right? A shriek's not really a man-beating route. And you're right, because even if they put a different route, a real man-beater, right, like a C route, right, you're just going to see how it's the same thing. Harrison Smith does a great job of guarding that because he's using the sideline as another defender. He's taking away everything inside, and he's doing a great job of just, using, like I said, using the sideline as another defender. And you see how Ridley's a premier receiver in this game, and it's really strength on strength here. And so you're going to see how he's going to be completely guarded. And then even if Ridley runs an in-breaking route with that same adjustment, it's like this is one of the most foolproof ways to slow down bunch formations, especially when they're really abusing on the sideline or with the outside receiver. But you're going to see how when Ridley runs like a dig route, for example, right here, even when he runs an in-breaker, right, there's another linebacker right there. Now, I have my controller down, so I would just have an easy interception, right? Because it's like, you're not really going to get beat that bad on this, right? Like, there's this defenders right here, make this play, easy interception. So this is really great, especially when you're trying to slow down those sideline routes, because he does a great job of just using his inside leverage, lining out to the sideline, taking away any route they have. But another key element of this that you need to understand is that you need to really have a good user, right? And what I mean by that is they put a crosser on the field. You see how there's no safety over there. So you have to get out here with your user and take away this crosser, or it's just going to be a wide open big play. So, and you see again how Harrison Smith does a great job of taking away the inside breaking route on the post. This doesn't get open on him, right? And so that's why this adjustment is so valuable. And then you're also able to see how the crosser is taken away by my user. So the scissor adjustment is what we call that. And it's just a really great adjustment to utilize against bunch formations, because you're able to take away the sideline routes, you're able to take away over the middle, and you're certainly able to take away the running back, but just make sure you have a good user down the field. Alright, I know a lot of you guys struggle with the switch stick, especially because the right stick isn't exactly the easiest button to maneuver here in this game. What if I told you there's a different and maybe even a better way to switch stick here in Madden 26? Let me show you the D-pad switch stick. Alright, so we're going to come into an example formation. You can actually do this out of any defense, any formation play in the game. But here's a great use case. Let's say, for example, you get quick snap, right? That's a real thing. And you get caught on a defensive lineman. Now, when I get caught on a defensive lineman in previous years, like in Madden 24 or any time before 25, if you got caught on a defensive lineman, you were screwed. There was really, I don't remember, wasn't really anything that you could really do, because there was no way to switch players after the snap, right? And so really now, though, you can just press the D-pad, right? So because your user's in a blitz angle, you can't switch stick. Because you're controlling a guy who's in a blitz angle, you can't switch stick with the right stick. But you can still flick the D or press the D-pad up. So again, we blitz, now I press D-pad up, and now I'm back into coverage, even though on the play I started on a defensive lineman, or I got caught on a defensive lineman, right? And it's really a great kind of thing to use, right? And so again, go with it, same thing. I can't use the right stick, but I can certainly D-pad switch stick. And now, after you D-pad switch stick, though, now you can resume to using the right stick if you want to. Now, here's the kind of adjustment and the secret I want to show you guys, right? And this is one of the craziest use cases for the D-pad switch stick. If you were to set up an overload blitz like this, right? Which, shameless plug, this is in my Vikings defensive ebook. If you're interested, bltforlife21.com. Check it out today. Just got updated the day that I'm recording this video. But anyway, you're going to see how if we set up this setup from the ebook, right, you're going to see how this is a setup where you have to blitz your user for this to work. Right, but if I don't want to user rush them. I want to blitz my user, but get back into coverage as soon as possible. And so that's really when this becomes the most valuable, because even if they were to send out their running back, for example, right here, I just snap the ball, immediately press D-pad to the left, and now you see how that's an instant sack. Why is that the case? Because we still overload the offensive line off of the left side, right? Because we have 4-on-3. but I'm still back into coverage immediately because I switch stick. So that's why it's important to utilize the D-pad switch stick, because you're essentially getting the best of both worlds. You're going to throw them off with kind of a crazy and unique blitz here, and you're going to get instant pressure, especially if they block the running back. Or excuse me, if they don't block the running back, you catch them off guard, but you're still back into coverage immediately. And if you want to put like lurk artist in the sky, make sure that this is a coverage defender, right? This is just going to be very easy and very great defense for you. So that's a great use case for the D-pad switch stick. Again, but another one is if we set up the same blitz, but if you know they're blocking their running back, for example, right? You know they're blocking their running back. Now you can take that man that's guarding the running back, put him in any zone, for example. And I would only really use this if I know for a fact they're blocking. But you could just put him in like a hook curl, for example. But here's the thing, even if you didn't know he was blocking and you put him in a hook curl and then they send him out, you can still just dart out there and guard that because you switched it. So again, boom, you're going to see how same thing, but now I press D-pad up and now I'm back into coverage right over the middle of the field with Harrison Smith, right? And then we just have another touchdown, right? Because we force a sack fumble. So it's really, the D-pad switch stick has some crazy use cases, especially when you combine it with really great blitzes. You don't want to user rush, but you can't switch stick with the right stick because you're blitzing your man. And this is what I tell you guys all the time. Even if they block their running back, it doesn't matter because he's just going to get shedded super quickly by these guys. So it's maybe just they get a second longer. But the best part is you're back into coverage over the middle of the field immediately with Harrison Smith. It's essentially like you started the play on Harrison Smith, but you're still getting that instant pressure. So that's the D-pad switch stick. Use it very well when you get caught on a defensive lineman by accident to get back into coverage and still play good defense. But the best place to use it and the best use case for it is when you combine it with the overload blitz, where you blitz your user and then immediately D-pad switch it to get back into coverage. So that's the D-pad switch stick and how to use it. Alright, I guarantee you if you load up into your next game, you're going to have to be able to stop corner routes, crossers, anything that's deep attacking the sideline. Let me introduce you to match coverage, the best way to slow all of those route concepts down pretty easily. Alright, so there's many different match coverages in this game. As I've talked about, cover 4 show 2 is a great one. If we come into, cover 9, right? If it says match, if it's purple in the left corner of the play, it says match. It's a match coverage-based play. But this is what I told you earlier in the video. When you call match coverage-based defenses, you need to make sure that you have all 3 zone drop depths on default for the coverage to play correctly, all right? So we're going to come into nickel 3-3 cub. We're going to come into cover 4 show 2, all right? And we are going to see how this defense plays. Essentially, this is a cover 4 match defense. And so that's very valuable for you. So if you watch a play like this where it's just a curl flat with a flood concept on the right, you're just going to see how easily this is going to be guarded. This is one of the easiest defenses to stop corner routes. I know something that a lot of people struggle with, just because look at this. You have a quarter flat on the field that takes away the flat route. You have an outside quarter that takes away the corner route, and then you're basically double teaming their shriek with your 2 inside quarters. It's really just textbook coverage to, again, be able to slow those plays down. And so even if, like, we, for example, called a different route concept where we have a corner, shriek, and a flat, again, you still want to have a good user. Like, I'm kind of putting my controller down on defense here. But if we were to watch how this kind of plays, you're going to see how Harrison Smith across the middle of the field's going to latch onto that crosser and take it away. When I'm playing on offense and I see after like 1 play or 2 plays that they're consistently calling match coverage, it's kind of annoying. I'm not going to say it's impossible to beat, but it's not easy for a lot of people to beat. And you also see right here, a 4-man rush walks in the backfield immediately. I didn't even really set up a blitz, but that can't happen, I guess. But you're just going to see how it's the same thing. The quarter flat's going to take away the flat route, and then the inside quarters are going to do a great job of just matching onto these crossers all the way across the field. And again, they would take them away literally all the way across the field, and then you're able to see how this outside quarter now is just going to sit on this, kind of stop route, hitch route. So it's really a great defense because it doesn't matter the route concept they call, right? There's going to be some sort of match coverage, even if they call the crosser from the other side of the field now, right, where maybe they call a route concept like this, which honestly this isn't a bad play. Again, I'm just going to put my controller down on defense. You still, again, want to have a good user over the middle of the field, but now if we take the snap and kind of watch this, you're going to see how that gives you switch stick ability. You're going to say that drag was open, but that's just an easy routine switch stick. So I'm not really telling you, I want to be transparent. You can't just put your controller down like I'm doing and expect to be able to stop every single possible route concept that they call. If they call street corner flat, you can probably put your controller down. But if they call like something different, they change it up. But if you just easily switch stick onto this, man, you see how no one else is open on this play. So again, that's why I say it's still important to have a good user to be paying attention to the route concept they're calling, and either to user this drag across the field, or just switch stick on this man and take everything away. So match coverage, again, cover 4 quarters, palms, 6, 9, buzz, cover 3 buzz match. Like, there's so many different match coverages. They all kind of play different against different route concepts, so it's important to practice and get in practice and figure out which kind of match coverages you like against certain looks. But pretty much any cover 4 match or cover 4 match on the bunch side, it's going to do a great job at taking away street corner flat. So again, make sure you have all 3 zone draft depths on default, but that's how you can use match coverage to stop a lot of those meta concepts. Alright, but if you found any of those 5 defensive tricks helpful here in Madden 26, again, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down defensive tips and tricks just like this every single day here on Madden 26, and you're not going to miss out on any of them. But if you want this entire video in written form to save it on your phone in your next game, go to the link down below the pinned comment, join Madden University, where you get your first month of all my written breakdowns for whatever month it is for only $1. It's an insane offer, and you're not going to miss out on it at all. But if you want to see 5 tricks to transform your offense here in Madden 26, check out this video. I'll see you over there.